Sound পাওয়া যাচ্ছে না।
Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon to you all. This is Dr. A.S.M. Shihavuddin, Chairperson, Department of Tripoli, and the moderator of this session today. We would like to take the privilege to welcome you all in this STI 2021 and STI EXPO 2021. Before I start the session, let me introduce to our today's panelists, Mr. Md Noor A Alam, Deputy Managing Director, Elite High Tech Industries Limited and New Trade Electronics, Mr. Tashfin Alam, Chief Operating Officer, Daraz Bangladesh Limited, Mr. S.K. Sanju Ahmed, Head of Digital Banking, Senior Vice President, BRAC Bank Limited, and Mr. Md Shamsul Haque, Head of Technology, BRAC Net Limited. Thank you all for joining today. And our discussion topic is required technological transition to achieve sustainable development for emerging economy. For this kind of information of our panelists, we would like to request you to maintain the time frame for the session duration. And also we will allocate individual time for your individual questions. Thank you. So my first question, we would like to start the discussion today asking, how do you explain regarding post-pandemic technological transition which has been enriched us or it has taken us back? So how we have adapted to this pandemic situation in terms of technological transitions? So we would like to start with Mr. Tashfin Alam, and then maybe you can pass on to the next speaker.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. It's an honor to share the podium with lots of respected people all around. So yeah, I think I belong to an industry which was the most talked about industry in this pandemic. So since we were part of the e-commerce, so I think that's the most closest alternative people could have got in this lockdown period. So from the way we see it, I just can explain on some of the numbers that we can see. So there is a lot of change. We were as a nation or as a world, we were not anticipating something like that. We were quietly adopting to technology, although we happens to be the developing country, but there were lots of glimpses of technology all around us, meaning that the 4G technology, the things that we do day-to-day life. So we were almost surrounded by the technology, but we never felt that how we are dependent on technology until this pandemic hit us. So for us, it's kind of a wake-up call, or for us, it's kind of the seeing what we have been doing in last 4 or 5 years, being adaptive continuously with these technological changes. And so that was an eye-opening for all of us. We never thought of like having online classes for a consecutive level. Forget about the university students. Think about the small pre-kindergarten students, the KG1, KG2 nursery. If I talk about my daughter, who actually started his schooling from an online box. So for her, that's the way to start schooling. So we never thought of these sort of technological changes even a couple of years back. We can do this. Home office, how we could have like imagined that one day we can happily say that you please do home office. And then, but still you contribute to the productivity rather than saying that he cannot come to office. So that's a big paradigm shift things. Online classes, yes, I think that's the only thing we were having post pre-pandemic as well. There were actually traditional online classes all across the world where students were actually taking classes online. So I think academia is the only one who were like a couple of steps ahead than the rest of the world, that they actually know how to do online classes. The rest of the world were not actually prepared, but see how adaptive we were. It just took us maybe a couple of months to restart ourselves, to face the challenges that we had. And we were so much adaptive that things actually move on. I think that's the fundamental of life. I believe that whenever there's a bottleneck, things will move on. And thanks to technology, the movement of the transition has become a blessing for us. Think about the Zoom session that we are having today. Maybe 5 or 6 years back, the session was targeted to be as much as physical audience as possible. But nowadays, I think Zoom is the first version. Even when I got invited for this session, the first thing is going to be an online session, because we are so habituated becoming an online session that physical things are completely going to be eliminated maybe 5 to 6 years from now. Although we need the human touch, we need the physical intervention, everything will be there, but we will be more adaptive. Now, coming back to the question, I think it's been a blessing. We never actually understand that what sort of technological adaptivity we have as a nation or as an individual until we face this bottleneck. And it has come up to a solution for every single thing that we were doing. Facebook become not only a means of communication, maybe it become a means of, so I think lots of doctors are now consulting over Facebook. So maybe we were actually using Facebook as a social media. Of course, there were lots of online purchases and shopping using Facebook, but it has become a sort of a communication even with the doctors. If we talk about the online purchases, the industry where I belong, there's a lots of transition. People becoming habituated of purchasing online, people becoming habituated of using technology as a means to place orders. So everything came as a blessing. Any industry, whether you name it as a doctor's services, the services that is coming in house as any sort of services like the home cleaning and other, everything has changed. So the technology itself came as a blessing. I think the country itself goes a paradigm shift towards the next phase, and I can only see that this phase that has changed the human nature will going to continue for the next coming decades, I think. So I think that's for this session of part.
Thank you very much. Really quite enlightening your thoughts on that. So I would like to listen from SK Sanju Ahmed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Vice Chairman and the panelists, also the guest. Thank you very much to invite me here today. It's I would say it's a very different discussions points. Nowadays, it's a very important part of, and I would rather say it's everybody's mind is playing on that side. If I talk about you, the pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, you have already looked into the bKash and the BRAC Bank, Astha apps, and any other banking apps, you can look into that. I can tell you the BRAC Bank's story. Before pandemic, basically the ATMs, the internet banking and other stuffs where there was a 60-40% usage. I would say 40% usage of ATMs, internet banking and other internet facing applications. And after the pandemic, it went to 70-30. So you understand how it hits up everybody. If I talk about the payment part, definitely you have seen that bKash has made a massive playing there. Any payment, like whenever it comes to the utility or the internet or any broadband services, everything is coming to the bKash, and also the payments has made very much convenient in case of that. And after that, what's next? Everybody is thinking of what's next, right? So basically, the next would be based on the data, whatever our discussion point is today, the 4IR, the fourth industrial revolution is coming up, and it is knocking at our door. We have to take it forward, and how can we do it? That's the main point today, I believe. Thank you very much. I'm just making it short.
Thank you very much. Now I would like to listen from Mr. Shamsul Haque, who is the head of the BRAC.
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me. So it's a pleasure really to talk in front of you. So already you have said about the uses and the digital platform during the pandemic and post-pandemic. We have already adapted, and we all know from our organization, we have seen how internet uses have been increased during the pandemic. So people used to buy from e-commerce side, uses digital product, and all of that. And now what happened? We have started our uses to being digital during the pandemic, and we are continuing. So that's the beauty. That's the good idea. And we should extend, we should continue our adoption with that digital platform and all that. So yeah, lots of things they have already said. So I may talk a bit other things. So thank you very much.
Now I would like to ask Mr. Noor A Alam to say something about this point of view.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you, Honorable Vice Chancellor and Chairman of the department. Again, it's truly an honor to share the stage with so many people that's representing the whole industry, a wide spectrum of the industry. I'm personally representing the manufacturing industry of this country. So what I'm going to talk about is more from this perspective or point of view, because my previous colleagues have been stated about the application of online transaction, online sales, and online service industry. But personally, from our point of view, what I think was happening is for the last 30 years, our country has been spending most of its industrialization in the very entry-level technologies and stuff like the garments industry, RMG. So this is the time for now that we are developing from developing towards the middle income countries. This is a time for our country to move into the light engineering. So in my opinion, that light engineering industry, let it be electronics and air conditioner, refrigerator, and others, I think pandemic in one way taught us how to be more efficient. And there's another important perspective, what I see that kind of hit the whole industry in a way that previously our mindset was, okay, as a country, we would we would do the like the clothing industry, and that's pretty much our like the height of our expectation. But now that we this industry, this pandemic basically forced us to look into the technology side more often, because now that we compare it like the competitor countries like China or India or Vietnam, the way they used to be very efficient compared to us, that kind of stopped us from moving into the next segment of the light engineering. This pandemic kind of pushed us out of our comfort zone. And I think in the next decade or so, we should be able to establish our country as a country who should start exporting the light industries like electronics and stuff. I would say in one way, this extreme adaptivity that our country people have shown is a kind of a blessing, and we just need to follow our good practices that we have learned from these last difficult 1.5 years to get the most out of it from in about next 15-20 years. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Noor A Alam. So now I actually have a very interesting question. If you'd like to use that one. Thank you. Thank you, and thanks for solving this problem. So I am actually really interested to know, and maybe we're gonna go around like anti-clockwise now. So my question is, how do you see in your own company, you are having the transition to the sustainable, like having a sustainable technological transition? How important is to have a sustainable technology, and how do you think you're gonna collaborate with the government and with the academics and to achieve that particular goal? And what are the challenges? Like just kind of an overall thoughts on that particular issue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Again, from our industrial perspective, what I see is that sustainability is probably the single most important thing that you should be looking at when in the manufacturing industry, when you are competing with another counterpart from Vietnam or China or Cambodia. The thing that comes to our head first is like how efficient in terms of say resource usage we can go. If I may give an example of such kind, it's like say a similar industry in Vietnam or China or in India. We need to assess ourselves. Would they use that similar unit of electricity for every machine, for every air conditioner that we are producing? Because if we want to compete in the global stage with them, we must do the benchmarking. So say if American Ford, if in their industry, they have a data mining engineer and AI level 4 IR engineer who is looking after their every single machine operation and their utilization of resources, then we were kind of forced to look into that and adopt those things. Say, for example, even for a maintenance perspective, say if the engineering people, if the people can track the electricity consumption of a particular motor, like if that can say that, okay, last month, the last year and the last 5 years, this motor should be taking this much of electricity when onload or offload. If suddenly the electricity consumption goes up, you can actually predict that there must have been some failure or friction inside the motor. That means the motor's lifetime is kind of coming to an end very soon. You can be prepared early. You can put it into the early maintenance. You can put it into the early replacement of parts so that your productivity goes up. So sustainability is something that we need to learn and we need to adopt in our everyday if we want to compete in the global stage. And I personally believe and I strongly advocate in the government industry, government side and in the academias, that now it's time for our country to look eye to eye with the global giants. We just not a like the water bearer anymore. So if we want to compete with them, we better try to benchmark our activities, and that's where the industry can the academia can come in, because academia and industry they can cooperate in a way that is beneficial for both of us. Say in my experience, say if the industries can provide the real life problem, or maybe not problem, maybe the improvement scope. Say it's kind of an open-ended discussion, like, okay, this is how much, downtime we endure in a year, or this is how much electricity we use in a year. So can you think of something that can save me 10%? Then I'd be more than happy to spend that, like say 2% of or 4% of the 10% into the industry, into the academia. And this is a win-win for everybody. So personally, I would believe this calls for a greater attention from both the government and the academia and the industry side to work together. Because if we want to put ourselves in the global stage, this is time for us to start cooperating with each other. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Noor A Alam. Now I would like to ask Shamsul Haque, sir, to just share your views on that.
So from BRACnet, actually, we are solution provider. We provide services to who uses actually like elite group, right? So for any smart organization or any organization who want to be smart, like smart production line could be. So what is the business objective? Their objective is to increase the productivity, increase the efficiency, at the same time, minimize the electricity consumption, minimize the wastage, reduce the wastage, and all that. So now how it could be applied? So they may have different type of solution. They can buy it from the abroad, but at the same time, they want a low-cost solution with our own made. So our local organization like BRACnet, we are here to provide this type of solution, and we are adapting. We are developing ourselves, and we are trying to provide this type of solution locally. So on that, so with the digital transition, or to achieve the sustainable development in digital economy or emerging economy, if we see the world actually, I mean, we all know 2 countries are in the front runner for this data-driven economy. One is USA and China. We all agree. So now data is becoming the most important things nowadays. We name it digital wealth. So this is data-driven economy, become data-driven economy. So this is the time to play with data, to represent data in many ways that help authority, organization to make decision to improve their efficiency and productivity. So on that note, there are many technologies nowadays we are talking about. Under the 4.0, we're talking about IoT, we're talking about analytics, we're talking about blockchain and all that. But to adapt with it, it's time to collaborate all together, not only academician, not only university, actually the industry, service industry and all that. This is kind of tri-party, 4-party collaboration, because so the people you are producing, the student you are producing from university, they need to have some practical, uses in the university level, because industry wants them, sometimes they don't want to invest so much time to learn them, right? So it is possible, I think, the culture is being developed, have some collaboration like industrial attachment type course curriculum. If we add, it may help. So from our side, to adapt with the for the industrial revolution, from that we have developed, we are establishing an innovation lab. So our intention is to make a collaboration with academicians. So in that case, we can extend our collaboration in future with like the service provider and where it should be applied and the students. So this is how actually we are planning, we are developing by ourselves to adapt with this digital economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think, yeah, we're gonna go through this side. So actually, I'm gonna change the question a bit now, because I think otherwise it would be a bit repetitive. So before coming here, we were discussing, I mean, we are all aware of this particular need, or like this existence of gap between the academic and the industry. So I would like to know, let's say maybe 3 to 5 steps that you think could be taken, could be either from the university point of view or from the industry point of view, like specific steps that can actually help to mitigate this particular gap and be more coupled together for better productivity and development of these industries. So if you want, you can take a little bit of time to think about it. It's okay? Yeah, okay. So maybe we start with you. Sanju Ahmed. So I think the cable is a little bit tight.
Okay, I'm just, yeah, basically now it's a question to how we could adapt, or we can do the collaboration with the academics and industry. It's a big question. I would rather say it's a question for the 50 years until we have get the independence. Anyways, many of the countries we have seen, the academicians are enabler in many of the industries because they know the theory. So there, the theory plays a role in the industry. So for example, one of the panelists has mentioned the blockchain. If we talk about the blockchain, we can, if you tell me what is the blockchain for an industry member, I can tell you, yes, from the through the blockchain, there are many cases in my hand. I can talk about that. But if you tell me what else can be done using the blockchain, maybe it's not my cup of tea, because basically I would say the academicians needs to do the research, and they need to come up with some of the cases, collaborating with the industry. I'm just giving an example. you have heard that Bangladesh Bank has already started the eKYC project through which you can open your account from home. So there, the national problem is the father's name and mother's name are coming in Bangla. And whenever it's coming to Bangla, you have to translate it because our core banking system does not have the capability to keep the what is called it Unicode, right? They are not capable to save the Unicodes. So what we need to do, we have to translate it. Whenever we are doing the translation, it's horrible. It's horrible. So here, basically, the academician can play a vital role. How can we go near to the appropriate word? Say, for example, one of in the translation, what it is doing, whenever the Khan is coming, it is telling you it. Khan means it, right? Shamsul Alam Khan, it is going to be it. So it's horrible. So here, the academician can make a model of, I know it could be a neural network, it could be a artificial intelligence, it could be whatever the name you say, but this problem needs to be resolved. So here I'm telling you this, it's a very very recent problem. The industry, I'm not sure whether you are facing the same issues. Basically, the banks are suffering a lot. So here you can play a vital role. And now the question is how you can do that, right? Because you don't know the industry problems. Here, I can tell you the Bragg Bank's story. Bragg Bank has already started a unit which is called the innovation unit, who is capturing the ideas internal as well as the academicians ideas are captured. And then we are doing the financial feasibility. And if we find, yes, it's possible to work in our banking industry, we are trying to do that. That's basically we have just started very recently. So in this innovation, through this innovation department, I think we can collaborate with the universities and we can tell you what is the problem. And from that problem, you can come up with the maybe it's a solutions, or it could be a theory through which we can get the benefits. That's the point from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and maybe
I think many of the points are discussed. So I just try to go to how just a proposal. Yes. So perhaps I think we are one of the few countries which didn't have many direct interaction with the academia and the industry. Not much. Even if there is, it should be very low scale. One of the steps can be to have a very close interaction with the industry, exactly what we need. So similarly, what Sanju was saying, that there is a need. Maybe this is the first time any of the academy is being able to hear this problem for the first time. So there should be a constant dialogue between the industry as a whole and the academy persons. So we need to find out a solution. There has to be a dialogue platform. It can be quarterly, bi-yearly, we don't know, but there should be a communication so that at least the minimum outcome of these dialogues will be the industry's problems that is being known by the academics, at least for the future students to know that where the industry is moving. This is very important, at least for a know-how that, okay, when you're going to be graduated, even if you are going for this particular industry, that's going to be the primary problem of the industry. Right now, if I talk about e-commerce, it's kind of a mobile technology, maybe a decade back. We were knowing that, okay, there's a transition between PSTN, TNT phones to the mobile technology, but nobody knew about it. I think I myself is the first graduate. When we came out of the universities, we directly was exposed to this industry where we were never exposed in the academics. We didn't learn anything at all related to mobile technology. And I myself served there for around 14 years. So we had to learn everything from the job market directly. But this was not the case even after 5 to 6 years. People know that mobile network or the technology is a big thing. There's a good job market and people need to be prepared for it. So academic automatically adapted those gaps between the learning and the application. For any new industry, it is going to be happening. But if we are talking about the overall technology base, I think the idea for academics is to make students prepared for the artificial intelligence, the blockchain, or the analytics. It's going to be the next big thing. What Mr. Noor was saying, that we cannot be always the follower. Maybe the big changes suddenly over a period, we cannot become a inventor of something that maybe China or US is doing, because they are already matured there. At least we need to interpret, we need to be adaptive, that okay, there's a technology, how can I adopt the technology to my local market, and that particular technology learning can solve our local industry problem. Because technology will always be there. We may not be able to invent it right away, but we need to know the application of it from our industry practices. That is very important. So I think the dialogue between the industry and the academics, and also constantly changing the course curriculum to be more updated about solving the problem. And we also have to come up with a like bookish kind of a knowledge to a more practical kind of a knowledge. The application itself should be the next big thing that we as an industry is looking forward from the academics. Okay, maybe 3 years of academic is very good. The last 1 year, at least you try to spend more on the application of it. You can have industrial attachment, which has been a common practice, or maybe just to have a session. Maybe they can directly go and start visiting to a particular industry, maybe for a whole day, at least to see what is happening. And then try to find out in the class, okay, I have learned in these 3 years, what are the things is exactly applicable on my 1 day high level tour that I've been to that industry? What are the things that I have learned I can actually apply or relate myself to it? If you can find the topics, then it's good. If you cannot, then maybe at least you have 1 more year to fine-tune yourself and make the gap between the learnings and the application. I think it cannot be an overnight thing. We didn't do this practice for quite a long time, but at least the steps towards it should be started. And then we can see the changes maybe gradually. So yeah, I think that's what for me.
Thank you very much. I think we learned, we got some good suggestions, and maybe we should work on that particular issues. And I actually have another question, but before that, I would like to open the floor for the audience. If somebody wants to ask any particular question to the panelists, you may raise your hand if someone have any particular questions regarding to this topic. Yeah. So I think, I'm not sure if this mic is on. You could maybe ask the question from there, and you can tell whom you would like to answer the question.
Thank you.
No, I think this is going to the mic, not that one.
This is not one.
Yeah, maybe you can. Okay.
My question is, actually, at first, I would like to send my heartiest thanks to the panelists. It was a fruitful discussion. Actually, it is very important for we are the academician. My question is, how can we collaborate third party or fourth party collaboration that mentioned by our 𝐒𝐮𝐬𝐭𝐫𝐲 actually is his nickname.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. So my suggestion would be, there are some universities already in our country, like I know some, like IIT Dhaka University. They have industrial attachment program, probably in seventh semester. For 6 months, they go to industry based on their chosen domain. They work for them, and after completing a 6-month course in the industry, in the office, like they do 9 to 6 p.m. office, and return to their academic for the last semester. So if I give an example, I had the opportunity to work 2 or 3 of them. They wanted to know, they actually taught the software engineering, but they want to have the real implication of software engineering processes. There are lots of processes, you know, like how a professional application is built, like how they follow industry follow agile processes, how DevOps are implemented. It is not possible by an university to go through all the processes, but for them, for the industrial touch, it is very good for them to get knowledge, the practical knowledge. So you can follow if possible. I know this is a hurdle to adapt it in the syllabus and curriculum, but at least 3 to 6 months internship industrial attachment could be a fruitful thing for both for the academy, for the student, for the industry. So, and university, I mean, industry will be willingly take this opportunity, because they need to develop something like a tools or any R&D by them. So these are win-win collaboration. So this is one way you can go for this. Another is the collaboration is like academic could invite industries to share their real experiences periodically, end of the semester, end of any courses, what are actually happening in the industry. The industry expert can share their experiences. And of course, nowadays, it is also already happening. There are some seminars, there are some workshops. Could be always, you can collaborate in this way. So this is how you can do the stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Another point, we are industrial training and integrated design project that will be supported by the industry experts. It is the requirement of our OB-based curriculum, actually. We are facing some difficulties to send our graduate or undergraduate level students to the industry for internship and other integrated design project related works or part of activities of their curricular. Some limited opportunities we are getting. How can we overcome these challenges? Actually, we want to know industry how will help this situation, and how will this facilitated to our students to incorporate their curricular requirement. That means industrial training and integrated project design type activities. Thank you.
Look, it's all about value proposition, creating the values for both parties, values for industry, values for academy. If you reflect the values for the industry to whom you want to collaborate, they will definitely take the opportunity. So how you create the values, that I think we need to work on that way, and that's why actually we are facing difficulties. Maybe there are some gap, we can't translate our language to them. They are not seeing the in terms of monetary value, the return. So we need to work collaboratively in that way. If we work well, I think that could be possibilities for both of us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you again, the panelists. Actually, we do believe we'll experience how can we mitigate the gap between the academia and the industry. This type of discussion, I do believe will help us and our institution and our university and our graduates and our faculty member, and also the panelists here presented. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aminu sir, for asking a very nice question. So we will finish quite quickly. It's my last question, and then we're gonna go to our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir for a reflection of the whole session. So, I mean, I'm very curious because you are from the industry, so you might know how our world would look like in 10 years from now. Let's say from the technological point of view, let's say from the banking point of view, how would our banking would look like in 10 days from now or stuff like this. So I would just like you to share some of the futuristic vision. Let's say, what are the technologies that we might see in 10 years that would be affecting our lives from each of you, really. So maybe we can start from
yeah. So the life going to be changing very, very soon. So I'm just giving you one of the two glimpses that Alibaba is right now working. So one of the thing can be in a fashion show, one model is working with a costume that is presented, and you're seeing in the TV screen. You will just tap on the TV screen, and automatically on the mobile set, you will see yourself on that particular dress on a different angle, and you can visualize that you're going to buy it or not. So this is not a fantasy. This is exactly what Alibaba is doing right now. So this is the way that technology is going to change. So we have just done a very small changes recently in the Daraz app that we all were very much familiar with Facebook Lives, where people come to say. So we have just integrated a platform, we call it Daraz Live, where any seller can come and sell. You can just knock to seller at any given time, and you can say, I want to buy this, can you show me the details of it? And automatically you can see on the video. So this is just an example that I'm giving. So the world is going towards that. We cannot even imagine. So from an industry, our task is to actually know that what is the need of the people, and that's how we are building ourselves. And the world is moving very fast, and we have to adapt ourselves. Otherwise, we will be falling behind. I think he will say more about the funding and the technology on the banking sector and the money. I'm not going to cover it, but we are moving very rapidly towards the cashless society, where everything will be done on a mobile phone and on a single click. Whether it's entertainment, where it is need, where it's education, everything is coming towards the mobile phone itself. And that's how the industry gonna change in a decade, which is very far stretch, maybe in next 5 to 6 years. Everything we want to do in the mobile phone itself, and that's how we need to change ourselves and to adapt to that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, you see the payment industry has already changed, right? You have not seen this industry before that has done by bKash, Nogot, and other stuffs. So yeah, the world is changing. Say for example, if you want to buy a car or house building, then what you do? You go to there and you find out what are the rooms and all the stuffs, and then you set your mind whether you want to buy it or not. What is the price or what is the rate? This kind of stuffs are coming up, right? So now what we see, it will not happen in future. It will all be done through maybe augmented reality. You will just look into the your all rooms and all what are the furnitures are there. You will look into that through the augmented reality glass, and you will find whether you choose it or not. This kind of stuff may happen. It's not that it's not a fantasy now. We have to go in that point. Otherwise, we will be lagging behind. Second is the IoT. You have someone has mentioned the IoT, right? So definitely the IoT OS is a very big challenge for not only the industry. I would rather say it's a big challenge for the academician as well. How it's going to work, the IoT OS, right? Because you see the if you think about the IPv6, how many devices would be connected? 2 to the power of 128. So many devices. So definitely there are it's coming up, the devices are there, the IoTs are there, and how it's coming to the banks. Say, for example, banks are investing to the machineries. So if the industry or anybody, maybe there is a solution that whenever we are giving the loans to a machine, and there is an IoT device through which a bank can know whether the machines are being used to produce the materials, and whether if he is paying me back, I mean that industry is paying me back properly or not. If I can measure it, why not? We're ready to do that. We're looking into that as well. Gone. Now coming back to the blockchain. Yes, the smart contracts. Everybody has a bank account, right? So it's a contract. So why don't we go to the smart contract through blockchain? Yes, it's coming. And you already know our ICT ministry has already passed the electronic signature, and it is coming, and we have to adapt it. Now, how we want to adapt, that's a big question. I'm not talking about that. That's a big question for us, how we can adapt it, but we have to adapt that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Personally, I would be all in for cashless society. I think that's would be a very effective way to reduce the corruptions in our society. Looking forward to that. So now, maybe we start with.
Yeah, so technology will be waiting for. Actually, we started already. We started using many of the 4IR things. Just adding note with them to honorable panelists. So world is actually start using this type of technologies like IoT, blockchain. But I think the opportunity is huge for us because we have many issues. So since we have many problems, so blockchain, IoT, this type of applications are very related to us to be used. Because if I talking about blockchain, there's identity problem, ownership problem, so verification, these are really problem for us, right? So we can easily ensure the consensus mechanism with the immutability. We can ensure the provenance and the combination of public and private key with the cryptographic technology. So blockchain, one thing we need to adapt, and this technology are adapting. And very recently, we all know about metaverse. So huge, everything we are talking about cyber and physical. Now it's virtual, everything within the home virtual. Personally, I may not like this, but world is moving on that. And with the coin, we are not liking like Bitcoin and all things, but NFT is coming with metaverse, and it's a huge collaboration. So metaverse and Microsoft, all the giant are collaborating to make live this technology. So in 10 years, I would say these are the new stuff we are going to be. So thank you.
Thank you. So if I ask myself at the end of the day that what do I think we'll see from our industry perspective in about 10 years, I would like to mention probably 2 points. The first point, I would go back to Mr. Tashfin Bhai. He just said that when someone is buying something in Daraz, they can just probably see them in that outfit. And then from my industry perspective, I can see that, okay, so if someone wants to buy an air conditioner, and he can take a photo of his home and he can have a look at how this AC, it looks in his own home. So this is something I see is very much possible in a few years. But my bigger say picture, the one I want to happen, want to see, that is, I personally believe, and I personally want to see in about 10 years, every small household in the periphery of the country, because we talk about decentralization. So I want to see that every small village next to the Sundarban, that Shamnagar Gram, that all these houses will be an individual workshop. So now that I know that these e-commerce versions, Sedaras, they only sell normally the products, end user products. But you know, in Chinese platforms, when we work in, like there are platforms like Taobao or JD where you can, like the main product is basically the back-end products, like the screws and the wires and the welding rods and these kind of things. And you don't need a big ecosystem for like big industry to do those things. Like when Toyota make their cars in Japan, they collect all those small parts from the nearby village. So that's what I want to see, and I hope to see in next 10 years. And I think that e-commerce and the physical manufacturing industries, they can work hand in hand to make that reality, because the faster we can make that happen, I would see that the better chance we get to fight fight with the bigger names in the world economy. Because one very thing that makes me very hopeful is, even though a very small country and a very poor country, we became the second largest garments exporter of the entire world, just behind China, or nowadays it's probably the third, just recently. So this is what we can become if we can put our resources from across the industry and the academia, put into the right place with the right dedication. And this is what I think we would see in about 10 years. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, I would like to add one thing. If I was asking me the question, for me, I think every technology should try to make people's life better, but at the same time, we have to be having this nature preservancy as a very important consideration. But any technology should be aligned with our nature, because that could be one of the crucial things in the next 10 years. So that would be kind of just to add. But let's give a big hand to all of our panelists for very nice discussion. Now, I would like to request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, to kind of give a reflection on the whole discussion and maybe some of his own thoughts.
Shihavuddin, thank you very much. This is not an easy task to reflect all the discussion that has taken place. At the very outset, I would like to give credit to all the four panelists. They have really touched the very important aspects of the four questions raised by our moderator. Let me touch a little bit of what we have already discussed, and then I'll also come with my own individual ideas on those areas. First of all, the transition phase that we have discussed, that, well, the COVID-19 really helped us to really move from what we have not, but COVID really considered one of the driving force, which really creates certain kind of enabling environment for moving forward, for adopt some of the technologies. And someone has already mentioned that it was really eye-opening for all of us. In education sector, in commercial sector, in different sector, they came out to adapt immediately, take the opportunities on technology. That is in live stream come out from the discussions we are here. And then even in the banking sector and the technological sector, they also came out different ideas how they can adapt this. And interestingly, it was also mentioned that the transition, it did not take a long time. And different people, they come out their own way to adapt those kind of facilities they've taken. And then based on this, another questions that, well, in order to really collaborate with the academic world and the industry, there was much more discussion that has taken place. You have already indicated that the collaboration could take place based on win-win mentality. It means the industry must realize that if they collaborate with the academic world, they will be the gainer. And the academic world must realize they will also be create the win-win situation. But here, from your discussion, it came out that, well, there has to be positive mindset both in the industry sector and also in the academic world. So now the question comes, how can we really create the positive mindset in the academic world and the industry world? Now, some good example has been given from, I think it came from Mr. Noor A Alam from you, right? Shamsul Alam. Okay. So he was basically giving one example, which I came to know that from the ministry, some exam piloting was going on. And some university were giving this example to make internship project in the software engineering sectors. So this is a complete going on piloting basis. So what he is suggesting, he was giving that even if you like to make effective collaboration between the academic world and the industry, there has to be some kind of initiative taken in designing the curriculum in such a way so that our students get direct exposure in the field, which could be replicated later on. This is definitely a unique example that Dhaka University is doing on that. Definitely, this is one of the good aspects that you have really mentioned. Now, other issue that came, that how they would like to see in future. And all of you, they came out with different ideas that while definitely the coming 10 years time will be different. It will be technology driven, and all these sectors, in banking sector, in the education sector, in the manufacturing sector, there will be different kind of challenge that we face, and situation will be like that. Now, those who will be left over, they will suffer. That is the discussion that came up. Now, based on all of your discussion, I would like to add that during your discussion, I found one thing is missing, and that I would like to give more importance on that. What is missing? The technological revolution, fourth industrial revolution, that is how we are facing somewhat. For whom? Why do we like to have industrial revolution? For whom the technology should be involved? It's for the people. Now, are you really thinking that digital divide that will take place? There will be a good number of people in my country and some of the developing countries, they may not cope up with the advancing technologies. But what would happen with them? With the poor people, with the poor education, those who cannot really pick up with the challenges that we are going to face, bringing the fourth industrial revolutions. What kind of change, facilities, what kind of support we are going to thinking on that area? This is one area. At the same time, cyber crime will enhance. So how are you going to take the challenge of the cyber crimes? What kind of facilities are we going to take? The corruptions, the money laundering, the many aspects. Do you think this will be reducing? This will be there. So in coming challenges, how the world will be like this, we need to also think of that, how we can really bring inclusive society in our country. By inclusive society, I mean how we can really ensure the facilities that are being created by the technological revolution, how we can really ensure that all of us are getting benefit out of it. It is not for the only richer people that they will get the only benefit. So that discussion should come to our mind. Another aspect that I would like to bring in terms of collaboration, I'm just adding to you, every industry, they should realize that the coming 10 years time will be different. And that's why the dialogue that you have really mentioned, it has to be continuously, there has to be dialogue between academic world and industry world. And that should come from the creating positive mindset from the academic world and also from the industry world. Now, our problem with this, our students also, our students are driven by certificate receiving mindset. That has to be changed. They need to be driven by outcome based mindset. They need to come out with the idea that how they can really add values to the society, not only certificate driven. Why I'm mentioning these things? So why now we ask them to go to the field and do some internship? Our students do not feel really always take it easily. They have the mindset to go for a white collar job. I'm giving example from my experience. I heard from many the garments industry owner. So whenever they ask our graduates, those are graduating from the university, go to the field and go to the lab and go to the, they don't like to go. They would like to always prefer to white collar job, remain sitting in the desk. That mindset should be changed. Otherwise we can really make it. I would like to also bring another idea that in garments industry, the present situation in Bangladesh, we are basically driven by lower end products. but situation in coming 10 years must be changed. We need to move into higher end products. By this, I mean how we can really produce quality products, which China is now producing. So that kind of movement will take place in coming year also. So that kind of mobility has to be coming soon. So I do believe that in order to really bring changes in the mindset of the industry and the mindset of the academic world, the industry should come out with the idea that they should establish a research and development R&D cell. And for R&D cell, they need to invest money. And all the academic world, they need to also make some kind of alignment with the industry so that they could really bring some required changes in their course curriculum and make it mandatory that all the courses, but particularly the technological driven courses, cannot be passed without giving practical experience in the field. And that could be possible only through collaboration and through creating certain kind of mindset, positive mindset for that. And I'm also like to bring another idea that if you do not create systematic process for that, it will not sustain. Ad hoc arrangement will not really help us. So how we can really create systematic system within the industry and within the academic world, that is would be a great challenge for us. And I would like to also again close my comments. I'm really concerned about the digital divide. The people who will not get support from the digital advantages, what would happen to their life? And if you cannot really think right now from different sectors, different way, their lives of the poor people will be deteriorated. And this is the high time for us in coming 10 years, how we are going to help them. This is digital divide will come from not within the country and also from the developed country and developing country. You have rightly mentioned that it is also widely discussed from you that we might not able all the time create new innovations, but we should be ready to adapt the kind of technology that we're getting from other countries, how we can really contextualize and making some adaptation so that the process get faster. This is a very nice way articulated this. This is also true that's why the slogan that we always try to promote, that lifelong learning for creativity and adaptability. So adaptability should be the major focus for the coming 10 years. If you cannot really move into adaptation, then we might miss some of the benefit that has been created by the fourth industrial revolution to really address the sustainable technology in coming years. So this, once again, thank you very much. I learned many things from your discussion. It was really stimulating, and I would say that sensitized many of us how we can really move forward in the right direction. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. And I think now I'm going to hand over to the Master of Ceremony to continue the rest of the part of the session.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, our respected panelists, for your wonderful discussion. Before I move into, we are now going to hand over the crest and the keys to our respected panelists from Green University of Bangladesh. But before that, we have with us now our respected advisor of Green University of Bangladesh, Professor Dr. Md Abdul Razak with us. I'd like to request our respected advisor to join in the dais, and also before that, say a few words regarding this panel discussion. Sudden, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. It was an excellent session. I missed enjoying consistently the whole session because of attending another technical session as the moderator. But intermittently, some of the parts I have enjoyed. I believe it was a very educative session, and it taught us a lot how to bridge in between the academia and the industry. what are the ways the industry can play important role for the betterment of our students, especially in enhancing skills related to fourth industrial revolution. Similarly, how the industry can help our academia in reshaping the curricula, incorporating state-of-the-art techniques and tools. Similarly, in many other countries of the world, academia is helping a lot to the industry in designing new solutions, innovating new solutions, so that prototype is developed in the universities and the commercial product is being developed by the industries. So they shake hand to each other and make development. So in our country, decades after decades, we are only talking about that, but unfortunately not taking any effective initiative how to bring a bridge. Honorable Vice Chancellor sir has rightly pointed out, but the R&D sector in industry area is a must. Similarly, the universities need to invest more in research and innovation areas so that a good mass can be made. So thank you very much, all the panelists for being attended here. Here, Shamsul Arifin or Shamsul Haque is there. He has been attached with Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Green University of Bangladesh for long, as a member of Industry Academia Advisory Board. So he is helping us. And today, some more faces have joined us. Hopefully, we'll make a good relationship in future days so that you can play effective role in reshaping the curricula and make innovative projects be implemented as a commercial product and make fruitful outcomes out of them. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to say a few words. Sorry.
So I'd request you to stay in the stage, and I would also request our Honorable Dean also to join with us to hand over the crest to our respected panelists. First, I would like to request our respected session chair to hand over the crest to Mr. Md Noor A Alam, Deputy Managing Director, Elite High-Tech Industries Limited and Noor Trade Electronics. I'll request our advisor, sir, and also Dean, sir, to join in the stage.
It's okay. Home to hand over.
Sir, just apni okhane thakle hobe sir. Advice Dean sir jodi chole ashen stage আছে.
Thank you.
Also, I'll request to hand over the STI kit to the speaker. Now, I'd like to request our session chair to hand over the crest to Mr. Tashfin Alam, Chief Operating Officer, 𝐕 Bangladesh Limited. I think we need to adjust a bit. Thank you. Also request to hand over the STI kit to the guest. Now I'd like to request our respected advisor, Professor Dr. Md Abdul Razak, to hand over the crest to Mr. Sanju Ahmed, Head of Digital Banking, Senior Vice President, BRAC Bank Limited. Also, I'd like to request to hand over the STI kit to the respected guest. I'd like to request our respected advisor again to hand over the crest to Mr. Md Shamsul Haque, Head of Technology, BRACnet Limited. And also request to hand over the STI kit to the guest. Okay, we'll just take few minutes from you for a photo session. Can I request the volunteer?
Another keynote speaker is waiting for us to end this session, so we make it very fast.
Yes, sir. Just. Can I request all the panelists? Can I also request our STI team, one of the member, Shora Borua sir, to join? And also, I would like to join also. Just. Can I request the state volunteers to come? Volunteers. It's for volunteers. আরো দুইজন ছিলেন, সারিয়া চলে আসেন আপনার কাছে দিয়ে। Yeah, thank you very much everyone for joining with us. We are saying goodbye from STI Expo and the panel discussion. Allah Hafiz, take care.